You know your emails are going to spam and you don't understand why. As a D2C e-commerce brand, this will absolutely destroy your revenue and it's really not good. Over the next 7 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to get out of the spam folder and stay out of the spam folder, and as well show you some trade secrets I've learned along the way from my agency days. Now, it's very important you follow these steps exactly how I showed them to you, or you're going to keep going to the spam folder and it's not going to work. All right, let's jump into it. Okay, when it comes to email deliverability, we really have 3 big factors that we focus on. It's authentication, engagement, and sender reputation. And we're going to break each one of those down for you right now. The first thing we need to worry about is authentication. Now, deliverability is a very technical part of email marketing. And if you don't have everything set up properly, it's just not going to work. So when you go to send an email, deliverability is really just, does your email arrive to the inbox? Does it go to spam? Or does it get blocked from even showing up? Now, the first thing we need to have before we get to the other 2 factors is authentication. You need to make sure you have DMARC set up, SPF, and DKIM. Those all need to be set up from every single email platform that you're using. So for most people on Shopify, you're using Klaviyo, which means that you need to have a dedicated send domain set up. Now, the good thing is, as of last year, Klaviyo basically requires you to have a dedicated send domain. They won't even let you send an email without that. So there's a good chance you already have that set up and you don't have to worry about it. But here's where the caveat is. When I had one client that I worked with, the first thing I noticed was all of their welcome emails were going straight to spam. Now you can imagine that someone signing up for their 10% off coupon, the email never arrives. It's really going to damage your conversion rate and your ability to convert new people into customers. So what the problem was, I jumped into Google Postmaster tools and I immediately noticed that their DMARC authentication rate wasn't at 100%. And if you have Google Postmaster tools set up and you see that, the DMARC rate must be at 100%. Since it wasn't, this let me know that they were sending emails from other platforms that weren't authenticated. You need to make sure anywhere you're sending emails from, whether it's Klaviyo, whether it's Okendo for reviews, or Gorgeous for customer service, any place that's using your domain name to send emails to customers must be authenticated. And if it's not, that can cause some major issues with your deliverability, and it's going to send the emails right to spam. Now, to understand the reason behind this, we need to think that almost, I think 80 to 90% of hacking attempts come from email, and Gmail, Yahoo, all these inbox providers take it very seriously. So they're not doing anything personal against you. They just want to know that the email that's coming in is actually being sent from you and not some hacker that's come and tried to take over your domain and then send malicious emails on your behalf. So that's why authentication is probably the most important step, because the rest of these steps cannot follow if you're not authenticated properly. So make sure all your authentication is set up, and authentication across all of your platforms that you're sending emails from to customers must be authenticated. Otherwise, we can't do anything else. All right. Our second factor is engagement. This is a huge one. So when it comes to the biggest deliverability and spam problems I see, let's assume that all of your authentication is set up properly, but you're still seeing that your emails are going to spam, or you suspect something's going on because the open rates are very low, engagement is very low. Maybe you even signed up for emails and you're seeing they're going to spam. This is a bigger indicator of overall engagement and list hygiene, list health. Now, it's very important that you segment your list. Now, I still audit accounts all the time where I see people sending emails to the entire list, and you absolutely cannot do this anymore. You need to make sure that you're sending emails to people who are opening, clicking, replying to your emails, and that's the best way to make sure your emails are not going to spam. Because what happens is, if you're emailing your entire list, there's always going to be a certain percentage of people that are just not engaged anymore, and Gmail, Yahoo, Microsoft, they see that people are not engaging with your emails and they assume that this is not a great experience for these people. So they're going to start to move those into the spam folder. So it's very important that when you're segmenting your list and you're sending your regular campaigns, most of the time you're sending to people who've engaged in, I'd say, the last 90 to 180 days. That means people who've opened, clicked, purchased, or recently joined your email list. Those are the most engaged people, and we need to make sure we're sending to them. If you're sending to people who are unengaged all the time, it's going to quickly tank your deliverability. You're going to see your open rates go down, click rates go down, revenue is going to go down. So it's very important that you're always emailing to your most engaged segment and not just emailing the whole list. That's going to get you into a lot of trouble. Also, when it comes to engagement, we need to be very consistent with our emails. Another mindset I run into when I talk to clients is they don't want to email too much because they're worried that they're going to annoy people on their list and those people are going to click the spam button. Now, it's actually a little counterintuitive, but if you only email your people once a month, twice a month, I actually see that it drives up your spam rates or people marking your emails as spam. Now, why is that? It's because people sign up for your email list, they don't get any emails from you regularly, and then they forget who you are. They don't remember signing up for your email list, and suddenly you start sending emails they don't remember. They think that maybe you just got their email list randomly and are sending them emails they didn't want. And that's another big factor. So you need to make sure you're sending anywhere from at least 1 email a week. The sweet spot is anywhere from 3 to 5 emails a week for your e-commerce brand, and you're going to be pretty good. Combine that with good segmentation, and you're going to have a great foundation for staying out of that spam folder. Now, the third factor we always need to take into consideration is your send reputation. And Klaviyo has a tool to look and see what your deliverability score is. But what's more critical is you need to set up Google Postmaster tools so you can monitor what your actual send reputation is inside Gmail. It's going to show you if it's high, medium, low, or bad. And without Google Postmaster tools set up, you're really flying blind and you're not going to understand how you're doing and if you need to change your segmentation, or maybe there's a problem with your authentication, which is really causing some issues. So this is especially critical if you are a brand new brand and you're starting from scratch. You need to warm up your domain, which means over a 2 to 4 week period, you just turn on your automations. So you're only sending to people who've opened or clicked in the last 7 days, 14 days, 30 days, a very tight segment. So the third factor is sender reputation, and your history as a sender directly impacts your placement into someone's inbox. Now, it's very important, like I said, to have Google Postmaster tools set up because that will let you monitor directly with Gmail your sender reputation, if it's high, medium, low, or bad. And then based on that, you can adjust your segmentation. Also, it's going to let you see if you have an issue with people reporting a lot of spam. It's very important to note that Klaviyo does not get any spam information from Gmail. So it could look like you sent out a campaign and there's no spam complaints, but actually when you go into Google Postmaster tools, you're going to see that there's very high spam complaint levels, and that's not good. So it's very important you have that set up. And your sender reputation is directly tied to your domain name. So it's very important that you follow those other 2 steps with authentication, good segmentation, and you're going to be in a good spot with that. Now, it's also important that you regularly clean your list, because what's very common in e-commerce is that you're going to have people who sign up for your list without a double opt-in. A double opt-in just means someone puts in their email address and they have to click to confirm their email. In e-commerce, most of the time I don't do this. It's better that someone puts in their email address, they get that first email right away, and they're off to the races. But the flip side is, if you're going to do a single opt-in route, you must set up a list cleaning automation on the back end. So what's sometimes called a sunset flow. And you need to go through and remove people who have not engaged with your emails in a certain time frame. For me, my go-to is anyone who hasn't placed an order, hasn't opened and clicked an email in 180 days, and they've received, let's say, 10 or 20 emails. I tag them in Klaviyo and then I remove them. Now, the benefit of this is it's going to keep your list clean, so you're only emailing engaged people. And the other benefit is that Klaviyo now charges you based on how many users you have in your account. So if you have a bunch of users that are just unengaged, they're actually going to be costing you money in the long run, and it's just better to get them off your list anyways. So those are the 3 big factors when it comes to getting out of the spam folder and landing in people's inboxes. And if you follow these steps, you're going to notice right away that you're going to have a much better chance of going into someone's inbox, and you should see open rates go up, click rates go up, and most importantly, revenue go up. If this video was helpful, be sure to click right here and watch some of my other videos so you can learn more about email marketing. If you need help with deliverability and you can't handle this on your own, feel free to reach out. I'll be happy to work with you. Catch you next time.